Okay, welcome to Turn 2 of Fields of Fire, second mission. We are doing okay. We're doing okay. So let's begin with the HQ event phase. So we draw for that. And if we have the HQ, which we do, that means we have an event. Okay, this could be helpful or this could be not so helpful. So let's see. So it's the same thing with just about anything else. So let's see, that's the enemy hire. Okay, so the friendly hire HQ events are here. So I'd have a 10. Let's see what we draw on a 10. 1, well, that's favored 1. All right, situation report. Must spend 3 commands to send a report to battalion. So battalion is asking what's going on with our offensive. Sure, we failed yesterday, but today we're trying our best. So we have to spend 3 commands. And we have an asterisk, so if we complete this, we get an extra experience point for doing so, and we'll note that. All right, so that's the event. That's not so helpful because now we're not able to use as much from my company headquarters. Poor guys. All right, so once we do that, now we go to the command phase. All right, let's do that. So friendly command phase, again, we are in contact with battalion. Let's go ahead and see what we get. 4 plus 1, which is 5, so that's plenty. So that's a great draw. So where are we at for the company? 2. So 2 was at 5. With 5, so we got 7. Awesome. So we put that over there. And then we're just gonna go ahead and spin our 3 commands here. And we're going to send that report back to battalion, letting them know that we are making some progress. And then we'll note that we completed that. Okay, so now the max we can spend throughout the day, our max commands is 6. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. So we only have 3 more commands left, which we're just going to use those 3. 1, 2, and I'll move that out of the way. 3. So spend those 3 commands, activating 1st, 2nd, and 3rd platoons. So now that those are activated, let's go ahead and see how many commands they get for this turn. So 1st platoon gets 4 because they're in cover and they're not under fire, so there's no negative. So 1st platoon, they get 4 here, so that's good. 4 commands. 2nd platoon, let's draw. They get 4 as well. This won't focus. So we're using a big helmet because they were activated. If they weren't activated, all right, so that goes up to 9. So we're gonna run into some problems. They have to do something this turn, or okay, we're gonna have to do something this turn with 2nd platoon. They have to do something. I already know what to start doing. All right. Yeah. Okay, I'm just thinking about what I'm trying to do here with the situation. Okay, so the next one is 3rd platoon. They get 4 plus 5, not plus 5, 4 plus 1, which is 5. So 3rd platoon gets, wow, they get 9 as well, which this is a record. I've never had this many commands for any of the platoons ever. It's just, we're all so jammed up and, I can't quite move without risking taking a lot of casualties. So that's probably the only reason why I've got it. So, all right, now that activation phase is completed, let's go ahead and start spending those commands, starting with 1st platoon. So, first thing that they're gonna try to do is rally themselves, and these guys, we need to spot them. And our artillery team has they've done their job real well, actually. So we might want to try. That should be within range, very long range. They've got binoculars, right? And they're in an elevated position, right? They should be able to see all the way to the end there, but I'll have to double check and come back on that one. But I really want to get artillery on these guys because this is a heavy hitter, and we can then start just trying to maneuver around the smaller machine gun teams, which will be easier in the squads. But down here, I want to move the rest of second squad over here into the woods. But then again, I'm just afraid of if they want to shift their fire down here, we could have a big mess. And I want to avoid that. And I also want to be able to, I can't move this squad up anymore because they're pinned down and they would have to be rallied first, which I could do what I like to do, which is risk my company first sergeant because he does everything that's required of him, and he does real great to rally. It's any HQ or staff should be able to rally, so should be able to get that pin marker removed and hopefully attempt to spot. That's such a horror because we didn't get any general commands, so we didn't have any attempts to even try, which really sucks. So I want to move them. I really do want to move them. And actually could infiltrate this squad. And again, hopefully move them into heavier cover. And see if we can do that. Because actually, okay, so here we go. Let's do this first. So let's do something with second platoon first. And what do I want to do? First thing I want to do is break down a second squad here and generate a fire team. So let's see, yeah, fire team. We want to generate a fire team, so we'll do that. We'll get that, and then I'll also order a ceasefire onto this card. So we'll take this away, and we'll take the crossfire away. And this heavy weapons actually downgrades to a small arms fire. So we need to find a small arms fire marker. Small arms fire marker here. And then actually, that reminds me, we should probably order a ceasefire from our squad or from first squad here. So we're actually gonna use one of first platoon's commands to then order a ceasefire. So we'll ceasefire here as well. We don't need it, and so that's no longer needed. It is still under an incoming, but that's gonna go away this turn. So that negative combat modifier is not going to take effect. It's just really dusty and probably filled with craters, and probably the farm is destroyed. All right, next we're going to have second platoon do the next thing and move. Dang it. Well, let's see if... we're just gonna do a little bit of fudgery. Let's rewind. Let's pretend that I didn't do the ceasefire from first platoon yet, so we can actually infiltrate because we need a volume of fire to infiltrate. So let's try to infiltrate. Now infiltrate. That'll be a net or just a regular draw of 2. But if who do we use? Second squad of second platoon. They're veterans, so they get a +1 on their draw modifier because they're a veteran step. So we're looking for basically this icon. This means that the infiltration was successful. And why is that important? Well, it's important because, well, we could have used that for our artillery, like for real. Okay, so reason why I want to do that is we can move that small team, that small section without exposing themselves, right? And that just totally failed. And I don't want to exhort because we have limited commands. Well, actually, let's go ahead and exhort. And what does that do? We can only do this once for this action, and that means we're really see, our lieutenant here is really trying to encourage, and possibly the sergeant as well, is really trying to encourage, a good idea on how to infiltrate, which that fails as well. So that's that. So that failed. Still. What happens then? Well, we'll just go ahead and continue to move this fire team over here. They're not moving into the building. They can't do that. So they are exposed there. However, because they moved, they also spot that there is a heavy machine gun firing into the village there. So they open fire and they generate a small arms fire, which that's not going to help very much because they're in foxholes, plus they're in the orchard, so that's a +2. As you will start to see with these draws, that's probably going to be a miss. Just trying to be realistic there, trying to calculate my moves. Okay. So that was that. We exhorted and we moved, or no, that was the infiltrate, which went to here, then the exhort. Okay. All right. And then if you have any questions about, where I'm getting these commands from, you can find basically the entire rulebook online on GMT Games with Fields of Fire, and you can look through the rulebook and it will have all of the commands that are available in the game. And it has pretty good descriptions on what they mean. But for me, here it's like I've got this chart of all these actions, and it will tell you exactly, exactly who can issue the order, how many draws, and who's eligible. All right. Okay. So that was okay. Well, what can we do next is what I'm thinking. So second platoon got to do a few commands that I didn't think I could. So that's good, and hopefully we get a general initiative to move them into cover first with the paralyzed team to basically capture them, and then we can get some experience points from that. But also we're going to have to resolve this potential contact A, which I totally forgot about, and that could be really bad. So we really need to get them into cover. All right. So that's this area here. And if we can get this machine gun team spotted, then we would be in a really good position to throw down some crossfire on there if we can. I can't believe it's already been like 12 minutes of me planning and trying to figure out what I want to do. This really stinks. It really does. Having all these commands and not knowing what to do with it. All right, so I'm still struggling on figuring out what I want to do with the first platoon. Again, I'm going to have to check to see how far this artillery spider can see in this elevated position. Because he would basically be looking over 2 farms into an orchard, which I don't know if that would actually work in real life. And that's basically how the rules work, is common sense and like how it would actually be done. So these guys are actually pinned down. These guys are too focused on these guys down here. So what I'm gonna do with third platoon is we are gonna do something really risky, and we are going to, maybe I don't want to do something that risky yet. I feel like I shouldn't. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and have the first platoon move third squad up here. So we'll spend a point for that. And they'll also be exposed for moving over here. And again, we can't use third platoon to issue commands to anybody in an adjacent card because they don't have a radio at all, so they can't communicate with third platoon, and third platoon can't yell loud enough over all the fire that's going on for them to hear anything because they're too far away. So that's why you need the general initiative to basically use our NCO's common sense and tactics to self-preserve and get an advantageous position. Right? Okay. And I kind of want to assault this machine gun because we get a modifier for being on the same card to do anything or to try and spot. So anything else over here that I want to do? Not really. I can try to move the mortar team as well. And since the mortar team has the most awesome radio ever, which is an SCR 300, which they can call from anywhere without needing phone lines or even line of sight to anywhere, because their radio can just contact anyone that they need. And then what can we do with this? So if we can, I would attempt to try to put artillery fire down here first, but I'm also kind of wary because if we get a short rounds, which will effectively, if we try to get something down here, and if it's a short round, then it's gonna move from here to here, which would be really bad because we have some friendlies there. So it might be just safer to try and call the mortar team, but the mortars are out of range, I think, because it's long range, not very long range. So that's 1, 2, 3. So this is the maximum range of the mortars. So we probably need to move them up either this turn or next to start putting more effective fire down range. Okay, so I'm gonna be right back. I'm going to figure out if I can call artillery down there. I'm about 95% sure I can, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so after a quick consultation, I am going to say, since these guys have binoculars, they can see at a very far range. So we're going to attempt to call artillery fire on that heavy machine gun team. And let's see. So we're going to have first platoon do that because they're right upstairs from them. So they're just going to ask them to call fire. Now again, that artillery forward observer has its own radio, so it doesn't really matter that they have that phone line connection because of the type of radio they have. All right, so they get 3 draws, and we are looking for the burst icon, and we got it. And last one, okay, great. So this would also be great for spotting because this is the icon we need in order to spot people. All right, so I'm quickly checking to see if battalion fire missions are available. And it says that they are available for artillery missions. What do I mean? So this 3 burst icon gives us a battalion fire mission. And so that means we can have another artillery in an adjacent spot where there's potential enemies. So basically we can have an artillery come down here and here, which is absolutely fantastic, right? So, and this is also the first time where I've been able to pull this off. So that's, double positive, I guess you could say. So here we go. We have a pending fire mission here. We don't know what's over there. We haven't scouted that. We haven't scouted that yet, so we don't know what's there. Now, so we have a fire mission there, and we'll have a fire mission there as well. So this is exciting. Hopefully we can knock out these 2 guys, and we should be able to basically clear everything up here. We should be in a really good position, so I'm really excited that we were able to call down a fire mission there. That worked out real well. I really like that. Okay, so I think that's all. I feel like that's all First Platoon's gonna do. So we're gonna have them say those commands. Okay, and just kind of doing some adjustments there. Not quite used to doing the camera and doing this one-handed and commentating all at the same time. And I'm starting to notice that I talk too much instead of playing. Well, the playing part is thinking it out, which is why I like this game so much. A lot of thought is going into this. All right, so because that's raining fire down, I want to hold off this turn from moving these guys. I feel like, so we're going to time it to where basically these guys won't have any line of sight anymore, and hopefully we can keep these guys pinned down, but I'm really not confident that they will keep them pinned down because they have the +1 plus another +1, and we know how that's going to go. So probably going to miss, and then they're not going to be pinned anymore. But hopefully we can get some cover and get some fire down on it. And that's it for that. So I'm just thinking this out. I'm thinking like this is what I'm planning to do. This is what I'm going to try to do. And I can't do anything else with 3rd platoon. Can't do anything else with 2nd platoon. I feel like I can activate the staff with 1st platoon. The staff I'm referring to is the company 1st sergeant. Let's see. Command and control actions. So any HQ or staff to any subordinate HQ or staff. So yeah. So I'm going to use... crap. Well, actually, no. I could probably use 3rd platoon because they're in contact through 2 different ways. So 3rd platoon is in contact because of this and this. And 1st sergeant has a radio, or, you know, they can trace lines of communication from this to this card to then this card. So phone lines are important for me. I only use the field phones, even though it can be complicated, but everybody can talk to each other. All right, so I'm going to activate, actually, using 3rd platoon. Boop. And when it's time to activate, we shall move them. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so there we go. Also, I guess I want to kind of clarify what's going on up here. Because of the battalion fire mission, if anyone is wondering, does the forward observer need to have line of sight traced to these or to the adjacent card? And the answer is no, you don't have to have a line of sight. So it's any 2 adjacent cards from the original. So from here, it can go to any adjacent cards, any 2 that I select, and that could have spotted or unspotted units on it. Doesn't matter. Okay, so that's how that works. Battalion fire missions. All right, so I've activated the sergeant, and what I plan to do with the sergeant is hopefully, because this is going to be a big risk, and we may lose an asset in the process. So it may turn out to be a great story, but I want to have our 1st sergeant, company 1st sergeant, to go up here, drive up here, and try to rally this squad. And why I want to rally this squad is to potentially spot that guy. And we have some advantages on that because he has an automatic weapons, but also probably the fire team here. I want to try to see if we can spot with a general initiative, but that's the initial plan. That is the plan, to try and rally him and to continue on. Okay, so for the 3rd platoon, I don't have anything for the 3rd platoon to do, so we're going to save this here. Actually, he's a line, so the max save for the line is 6, so he's actually going to lose a command. And then 2nd platoon is going to lose a command, or not lose a command, they're just going to save this. I don't know why this says 0, probably because I didn't flip it, so we're going to do that. For the 1st platoon is not going to do anything, they're going to save that. And the XO will just do his impulse. He only gets 1 command, and that's just on the sequence of play, it'll tell you. All right, so the 1st sergeant, since he was activated, let's see how many commands he gets. So it would be 3 commands. And our company 1st sergeant, he's just a line, so he doesn't get any bonuses. So that's just straight up 3. So 3. 1st sergeant gets 3, so he goes up to 4. Put that back. All right, first order of business, we're going to have him drive his Jeep to the farm, from the village to the farm, and he has to stop here because of the slow. If there was no icon, like in the open fields here, if there was no vehicle icon, basically he could drive through as many cards that have no vehicle icon as much as possible until he hits a slow, and then he has to stop. If there's a no, that means the vehicle just can't enter into that card. As you can kind of see pictured in the gully, it doesn't look like a Jeep can get through that, can it? All right. Again, pretty... I say it's simple, but it could be complicated. This is a very complicated game, but once you kind of get through the first turn, you really start getting the flow of how it works, and everything starts to make sense. All right, so he's going to be exposed for doing that, and again, this is going to be a risk. So we're going to do that, and the first sergeant is going to try to rally that pinned. So we're going to spend one more command to try to rally, and let's see, I can't remember if it's based off of their draw or if it's based off the squad's draw. So if we're trying to, oh no, it's a limited actions chart. We need the rally actions. Sorry, I'm looking over here. So the rally actions attempt, so any HQ or staff can do it, any unit or pin marker, and the draw is 2 plus or minus, which is their skill. So I'm gonna say it's the skill of the first sergeant. So he's a line, there's no bonus, so we're just looking for the rally for 2 cards. 1, boom, rally. I knew my first sergeant could do it because he always does what I ask him to do. He does what needs to be done. Okay, so this pinned gets removed. I'm telling you, every single time I use the first sergeant to go and just rally up any squad that's having some issues or to remove a paralyzed, he does it. He just goes, he does it. I mean, this guy's awesome. At least in my playthroughs, he's always very useful. Company first sergeant and his little crew of 3 other guys, right? Or 4 other guys. Each step is about 3 to 4 people, 3 to 4 soldiers, okay? All right, so they're no longer pinned down. So first sergeant is going to ask them from the Jeep with his crew. He just rolls up, says to get yourselves in order, and then also to spot this machine gun team that's firing on them that they got pinned from. So we're going to do the spot command, and this squad here, who are they? They're the 3rd squad of 1st platoon. So what is their experience? 3rd squad, unfortunately they're aligned, so they don't get any bonuses for that draw. However, let's see, where is our spotting chart? Anti-armor table, command draw modifiers. Here we go. Spotting draw attempt modifiers. So yeah, see, they don't get any bonuses from there. The target, is the target undercover? Yeah, they're in foxhole, so that's a -1. So they're none of these, not on the same card, they're not exposed. So the target's card, meaning this card, the target's card. So over here, target's card, 3 or more cover value. It's also -1, so the target card, they don't have a cover 3. Do they have cover 0? No. Volume 5 A, which is yes, so that's a +1 because they're laying down automatic weapons, so volume of A. So with, oops, don't need to put that in this card pile, sorry. So basically it goes back to just 2. 2 draws is the base, which is quite unfortunate. So we're looking for the crosshairs. 1, 2, reshuffle, so we'll put that off to the side. And so we still continue to draw, so spotting attempt does unfortunately fail. Now the first sergeant can exhort. They can't move anymore because they've already done the move action. So this is why I said this was risky. Because, yeah, this is risky. Oh boy. And the cover marker is already at capacity. When I mean cover marker capacity, that's this little thing here. So it's only 1 cover marker can be on there, which is for the strong building. So I was going to try to have him disembark and then move into the strong building, but he only has enough commands to disembark from the Jeep, him and his crew. So that's not gonna work out. That's not gonna work. So it's still gonna be a pretty this is gonna be a pretty sticky situation. Pretty sticky. This is gonna be terrible. So we're gonna do what the squad failed to do. So we're gonna turn this over to, he has no more safe commands. So because he has no more safe commands, he's gonna use his last command to spot the machine gun himself. Basically saying, if you guys don't do it, I will. Now, hopefully he'll pull through this time. So we're gonna have to shuffle the deck. We got this reshuffle action deck icon, so we're gonna reshuffle the action deck and we'll be back. Okay, I've just been able to shuffle the deck. So we've already spent the command for the first sergeant to spot, and it'll be the same things. He's still aligned with the -1 of, I can't remember why there was a -1. Oh, because the team is undercover marker. So let's go ahead and draw the 2 for spotting. 1 and 2. Ayo, see, first sergeant gets things done. First sergeant wasn't having it. He said he's gonna do it himself, points it out. So we remove that question mark or marker, and guess what? First sergeant says, there he is. So this then turns to double-sided primary direction of fire, and then now the squad is throwing some rounds downrange. So let's go ahead and get a, what do you call small arms marker. If I can grab it. So small arms, here we go. Small arms on these guys. Small arms fire. So actually I like to keep it in the corner, so let's move these markers around a little bit. Okay, there we go. So that has happened. Good stuff. So that was that whole deal, and I almost want to move the first platoon up, but again, we have to clear that machine gun team so we can start advancing, because losing a headquarters team is not a good thing. Okay, so that's it for the activation phase. We've already done the impulse for the XO. He's not going to do anything. Again, he's got the radio for our mortar squad that's on the ready to lay down some mortar fire. And plus, we're going to see if we can we're probably going to move the next turn up, just in case. Just to be a little closer to the front. Plus, it gets everything in range, especially up at the top row. So we've done that. Now's the general initiative impulse, general impulse. And let's see how many commands we get. And it is a whopping 4. Good stuff. Okay, now, first order of business, we're gonna use the first command to move these guys into cover. And by doing so, they then become exposed yet again. So it's not so great, but at least they're under cover. And if these guys decide to return fire, you know, it won't be as bad. 0 is still pretty bad. And they're not going to shift their fire yet, maybe? Depends on if we have enough commands to do it. Just depends. Alright. So that's the first impulse that they're going to do. Next 2 impulses are probably going to try and find cover. So over here, we're going to have the 2-step squad that's exposed. They're going to try to find cover. And that's a draw of 4 cards. And we're looking for the cover text at the top, which we get on the first one. So they just immediately find cover, double cover. The double cover doesn't actually mean anything. So because they're in the woods, they just get a generic cover +1. No foxholes or anything like that. They just find some cover in the woods. So this is what this looks like, cover, some cover. So at least they got a little bit of something if something doesn't work out in their favor. All right. Next, we're gonna have this squad here. Since they're already in here, this fire team, we're gonna move them into cover for command point number 3. So that's really good, and they're probably gonna end up capturing this paralyzed team and getting them extracted. All right, so that's number 3. So what's number 4? What general initiative can we do for number 4? Because this is going to be a pretty pivotal turn. Didn't think about it, did I? Didn't think this through real well, did I? Let me see. So I want to shift fire onto that machine gun team, so they'll stop firing and get a crossfire marker put on them, just to have at least a little bit of something. So when do they remove the pinned marker? Because there is a step to do so. There's a VOF and PDF markers as needed. It might be start the combat phase. Man. Yeah, I think it's the start of the combat phase that the pin markers go away. So what I'm thinking is, because if I shift fire from here to here, this pin marker will undo itself, and then they'll be under attack from these guys immediately, instead of after the combat effects segment. So maybe it would be best to just keep them firing on these guys on the off chance that they get a hit, maybe. And so we'll do that for now, and then we'll see how this turns out on this side, which again is probably also too, if I did shift fire, that means this fire would be coming through an open space in this hedgerow or the bocage, and we would actually use the superscript number of +1 cover, which would work out in our favor a lot more. And then if man, because if we can, well, this is the main objective, right? So if we're trying to capture this objective, we would want to shift fire, right? And then try and get people in there, and then we can still probably put crossfire on these guys over here, right? So that's what I'm thinking. But like I said, once the combat effects segment starts, they might, well, if they're pinned, because if they haven't opened up fire and there's someone in their line of sight, they probably would automatically open up fire anyway. We can wait a turn. It's only turn 2, so we'll do this. We'll keep this. It's only turn 2. If it was a later time in the game, in the mission, I would probably be more desperate to capture that objective. But since we have a little bit of time, we could probably just avoid getting fired upon over there. So that would work out, I guess, best. So we're not going to shift fire. So we still have one general command available, and I don't know what I want to do with it. These guys over here, they could probably seek cover, but then I'll give them an exposed marker. Let's see if we can get second squad here. Let's do the, or not second squad, third squad here. Let's see if we can get them to concentrate fire on these guys and see if we can just try to get another modifier on there. So let's do that. Okay, so great. Concentrate fire. Got it. So we're going to try to concentrate fire. That's a special marker to remind us that they're really focusing on trying to take them out. So here we go. Concentrate fire. -1 net combat modifier. So that's it for the general initiative. That's all 3 or 4 commands that we have. So after the general initiative, impulse will go into the enemy activity segment for offensive missions and combat patrols, which will start on the next turn, or the next game, or the next mission, if I can make it. All right, so first we're going to check for an event for the enemy, and we have no event because there's no HQ icon. So we've got out of that. And if they would have retreated, that would have been awesome, but I guess, anyway. So check for every unit on the map. Let's do that. So we have, again, we're just gonna go from left to right, 1, 2, paralyzed probably doesn't do anything, but we'll say 3, 4, 5, 6, and then over here, since they're no longer in cahoots with each other, they're gonna have to do a separate activity check because they're separate, but they're both pinned down. All right, so let's do that. Let's go ahead and draw for this one. So what do we say? 6. So number 6. So well, okay, we're gonna start here. So out of the 6, out of the 2, we'll draw another one for the 2. So we'll do 2. So it'll be the squad that's still pretty much together. So what do we got? Let's get the chart out. All right, it's a bit of a mess, all these charts. All right, so what are we looking for? So they're pinned, probably on limited action. So they're pinned, they're not undercover, and pinned, not undercover. Okay, so pinned, not undercover, they have no leader, so we're gonna be using this column, and it'll be on a draw of 5. So I'm really hoping for a 5, and it's not, it's a 1, which they don't do anything. Okay, and then we're gonna still continue on in this card since it's been selected, so we'll do the fire team next. So the fire team, they are pinned and not undercover. I really want them to fall back. I really do. Okay, so out of 5, 2, and so out of 2, what is it? Pinned, undercover, out of 2, they don't do anything, no action. So they're just stuck as is. Okay, so next one, 5, out of 5, 1. So this one over here, they are pinned down and they're not undercover as well. So that's another draw. So out of 5, I really hope they retreat because that means they're no longer active. So out of 5, it's a 2, so they don't do anything. All right, so 4 cards, second card in the sequence. So 1, 2. So they are paralyzed. Paralyzed team on a U.S. occupied card. It is U.S. occupied. We have that one. Oops, we have that one fire team occupying that area. So it's occupied. So automatically they don't do anything because we're going to capture them on that phase. Next one. So 4. Nope, we already did 4. 3, 2. Okay, 1. All right. So it's 1, 2, 3. So 2 is this guy here. And so what are they going to do? They're under fire. So they have open fire. So this is the one that we did on the last turn. Oh wait. Whoops. I think I screwed that up. No, I didn't, because we were on the hasty, which is the middle box. I was looking at this one, but it's this one. So out of 3, this is the time where we would want a 1. Yes, they don't do anything. They're just, just put them shots down range. Okay, next 2, out of 2. So it's these guys, this squad. So this squad is they're not under fire, but they've opened up fire. So here we go, out of 2. So 2, 1, they don't do anything. This has been probably the best enemy activity check segment ever. So then these guys, they are trading fire. So they're trading fire and is better, lower because it's -1 than the best US units. So they're trading fire and it's better. So this is the one we want. So in this case, it is, because it's hasty, tactics, a draw of 2. So let's do 2, 1, they don't do anything. Again, this is probably the best one I've ever had to do, ever. Because for whatever reason, a lot of 1s are generating, and I don't know why. I've been shuffling these like a madman. Okay. All right. Now that we've done the enemy activity check segment, we are doing the mutual capture and retreat phase. So, All right. Now what happens here is these guys are now captured. And those are the guards. Okay. So we've captured those guys over here. They're paralyzed. They're pinned down. However, they are able to retreat because when they retreat, there's no volume of fire on here. So we're actually going to lose that objective. So they're going to retreat, and it's going to turn to an exposed marker. So that's okay because we can just get right back in there. And with another team, we're going to send somebody up in there. Why? Because these guys are no longer going to have line of sight. So we're just going to flood in there. Maybe not flood in there because that would be bad because everybody would start taking hits. But the good thing is these guys are going to be wasting a point of ammunition because they're firing and they don't know quite yet that they retreated. Okay, right? So that's great. Okay, so sorry, I was just thinking about the next move. I'm sorry. Taking too long here and not talking about it. I'm just doing it in my head, have my dialogue in my head. So they've retreated, right? So that's it. So we captured, retreated. There's no vehicle or aircraft that we need to worry about. Okay, nobody's been activated. So now it's the combat segment. So to get things in order, to start the combat segment, we flip these over. So now fire's coming down on there. This gets removed because that was the last turn. So we remove the existing incoming, flip the pending, and then we evaluate for potential contacts. So right now, oh wait, I don't know why I didn't do that. So we already got rid of that. All right, so there are, I think, 2 units, or maybe it's just 1. I think it's just 1 unit. Yeah, this 1 unit has a potential contact of A. And technically, we are heavily engaged. Technically, because there are enemy units and friendly units on the same card, and we had 2 cards with volume of fire on them. Still kind of have. So I'm just going to say it's heavy contact still, since it's all happening at once this turn. All right, so we evaluate the potential contact. So it's a potential contact of A, and on a potential contact of A, let me bring this back up. My player aid, handy dandy player aid. There it is. So A, for heavily engaged, it's a draw of 3. So again, we're looking for that contact text. 1, 2. Contact. I hate this game. Okay, not really. I really love this game. But just the draw, the fortunes of the draw are what's killer. So again, they can only activate in one spot, which is right there. So, gosh. Okay, well, let's see. First, before I get in a fit, let's see what actually generates from here. Okay, let's go to the draw. Out of 10, it's a perfect 10. All right, so out of 10, it is a mortar position, which it's been a real long time since I've run into one of those. So let's consult the package chart for the German force package. We're looking for a mortar position. So do we place a PDF? Yeah. Is it spotted? Nope. We don't need this yet. So mortar position would be an LNG team plus a mortar section under foxholes. Now if it had basically if it had no text to saying what it's under, it would use the mission default, which is foxholes anyway. These guys are under foxholes. Otherwise, except for patrols, because patrols, you know, when you're walking out on patrol, you're not walking in foxholes on a patrol, are you? No. So that, again, I'm trying to just use common sense with it. So mortar positions, that's what we need. I know there's a mortar section right there as the fire team, so we're going to have to swap that out, but then we're also going to have to bring in another light machine gun team. Now, does it say plus? Yes. So the plus means they're going to be on the same card. Otherwise, like this, the slash, that means they're on separate cards. So in this case, they would be together as -1 mm mortar section on the foxholes. So that's not great. But the great thing, I guess, we could bring out of this is because that potential contact A is clear, we can retreat from that card because we cleared that out. Because really all we need to do is hold down those objectives and try and get, yeah, that's the last objective, so we need to get that. All right, so I'll be right back with the updated cards, or counters, I should say. Okay, so we've swapped it out. So there's the mortar section with the one step, with the nice grenade. So that's awful. It's gonna have a very long range. So I think that's 3 cards away, because it's point blank, which is the same. What was it? Point blank, short, long, very long range. So yeah, we really need to move up our mortar team. It's very long range. This is long range. So this is what's generated. I'm not really gonna draw for the right spawn position because, again, that's the only spot that's left. So let's go ahead and draw a card to extend the map yet again. So we extend the map to the woods, and these 2 guys are going to be here. And cover said that they were under foxholes. So let's grab a foxholes cover. So they're both under foxholes, like this. And we cleared this potential contact A marker, but we're just going to flip that over to the question mark to denote that they're both unspotted. Now, the package does state that they do open, or they do have a primary direction of fire, which is on here. And this is an automatic weapon, so we're just going to go ahead and get that done with automatic weapons fire on there. And the cool thing about this too is if we retreat, and by the next combat effects segment, if they have no line of sight to the nearest US unit that I have, then they basically go away. They pretty much retreat. And so we can move back in there and then not have to deal with that. So that is the plan if they survive what's going on here. All right, I don't think these mortars here do anything as of yet. But I have a small chart that I can check just to make sure, because it has the grenade superscript on it. I think, if I remember right, we have to draw probably 2 cards and just look for the grenade icon and then see if it's successful or not. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. So I'll have to just double check, and we'll move on with the next segment because that's the only potential contact that we have available. Thank goodness, because it could have been much worse, I suppose. This is already pretty bad. And then we can go straight into the combat effects segment. So let me go ahead and check the chart. All right, so this is the chart I have. It's a printed player aid from the Board Game Geek that I found for all the defensive hierarchies. Just basically grouped out by the special cases for the sniper, the mortar team, and also the enemy spotters, because it's not included in the rulebook that I know of, either of them, either the first edition, which is what I have, or the second edition. So it doesn't quite state here that if it's spawned that it automatically attempts to make a grenade attack or not, but from what I know, I feel like that because they're generated, they automatically make a free attack, just because I feel like that's how the game works. Just kind of a challenge that's not in your favor. So real quick, again, I'm gonna have to go back and check the rules one more time to see if they fail, if it still generates like a grenade miss marker. And well, I have to see what generates. But okay, all right, so that's the update. That's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna draw for them to make a grenade attack, which is only going to be 2 draws, and we're going to look for that grenade icon, which, based on my fortunes, is probably going to come up, and then we'll go from there. So I just have to double check about on-map direct lay type mortars. Okay, so be back. All right, so yeah, it would be a grenade miss. So let's go ahead and draw real quick. 1, 2, okay, that doesn't count. And we'll draw the second one. And like I said, probably was gonna get that grenade marker. And so that sucks. So we need, let me get all my stuff over here. So we need a grenade marker. Oh dear. And I think in the World War II scenarios, I'm pretty sure the grenade marker is the -4. So again, that sucks. But the good thing is, this doesn't count because that's no longer the lowest volume of fire. So this is now the lowest, so this will be selected as a -4. So that's at least something that helps out for that squad there, that small element that we sent out to go capture the Germans. Okay, so now that's done. We got that done. So we did the activity check, we updated the fire mission, we evaluated potential contacts, we updated the mission log. Oops. Wait, yes I did. Yes I did. So again, all this combat is happening at the same time. So we need, so they're going to use an ammo, we're probably going to work backwards from that, sorry. They're using, nope, these guys don't use ammo anymore because they're captured. And then they use ammo. They're 8. Right. Our mortar doesn't do anything. None of the weapons teams for the bazookas have fired anything. And then none of the my machine gun teams, they're not firing on anything because there's nothing to fire at currently. And then these guys, again, these guys waste ammo. So that's always a good sign, a good thing. So we'll take our victories where we can. We'll have to reshuffle, so let's reshuffle, and we'll start with the combat effects segment. Okay, so we're all shuffled up. Let's go ahead and go to the combat effects. So the combat effects, we are going, again, from left to right. We're going to start with the Germans first, and I also just failed to do this, so we've used 2 fire missions for HE 105s. At least I'm pretty sure they're 105 millimeters. 105s down on those guys. So 2 fire missions used for that. And let us continue. So again, left to right. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll resolve those. So out of 5, right, draw 5, the second one. So 1, 2, so the one that's being concentrated on. So because the fire is coming at this corner, it's going to use the bigger number because of this line of sight cover, basically. This is where the hedgerow is, and this is where the hedgerow kind of isn't, kind of like a clear line of sight type thing. Anyway, so the bigger number, so it's the small arms, they have a +2 with the foxholes, which is a +3, but this concentrate fire is a -1, so it's a +2. It really just negates the that foxhole cover. So on a +2, it's a pin. So I'm happy with that. It's the best that I could imagine going on. So they're pinned down. So I guess that concentrate fire kind of did something good, but we'll have to wait till we resolve these guys to really breathe. So that's done. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So out of 4, the number 3. So which one's that one? 1, 2, 3. This guy here. So artillery is raining down with a -5. So with a +3. So that's a -2 net combat modifier. So with the -2, it better be a hit, and yes, it is a hit. Good. What is it getting hit with? And they are line, so that is a paralyzed team and a litter team. So basically, all of this entire squad is in shambles. They don't have anything. So we are gonna get a paralyzed team. So paralyzed team here. These guys are just pretty much done for. Paralyzed team, and then a litter team. There we go, litter team, and then we need a another fire team, which I'm gonna play into my favor. I feel like cheatingly, but because it's an assault team. But you know, let's just imagine that the machine gun team kind of dropped the LMG, and it's LMGs, and they're kind of panicking right now. They don't know what to do. So all that happened, and because it's a hit again, now they're all pinned. Okay, so that's pretty easy to see there. So they're pretty much gone from the game, that squad. No chance of rallying back to full strength because there's no leader. All right, so that's that one. So now we have, I think, 3 left. 1, 2, 3 left. Yeah, 3. So we go down to 3, 2. So on the 2, that'd be the heavy machine gun here, and he's in worse shape. So for him, it's a +2, -5, so that's a -3. Let's go ahead and draw. -3 is a pin, which, dang it. What do we have to do to, like, destroy some people over here? What do we have to do to destroy the enemy? Good Lord. They're pinned down. That's all that happens to them. They take cover in the foxholes, and artillery is just raining down around them, and they're choking on dirt. Okay. Next. 2 left out of 2 is just 1. So these guys over here that are pinned, they have a +3, and that's it. +3 net combat modifier, pretty easy. So on a +3, that's a miss. So because that missed, they don't have to rally. That pin just gets removed, and they'll be ready to act on the next go around. So that happens. So that means this is the last guys to go. So we have to resolve separately. So we'll draw as to which one we'll resolve for first, which is the second one, the more intact squad team. And that is a +2 net combat modifier. So let's see what happens there. So +2. Hey, that's a hit. That is okay, great. So these guys are really throwing some rounds downrange, and they're really doing their job. So it's a hit. What happens to the hit? They're a line. So it's a casualty and a paralyzed team. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I've been looking for. Finally, taking some dudes down. So, casualty. These guys go away. So what was a casualty and a paralyzed team? Let's get a paralyzed team out here. Wherever they may be found, I guess. Let's see, what was a paralyzed team? Yeah. So that's what happens here. And they're still pinned down. Awesome. See, that's why we... I don't know why I'm minutely adjusting this. I don't know. So that's why we do it randomly, I guess. We get great stories like these guys. Who are they again? 3rd squad, 3rd platoon. They're really doing their job. They're doing great. Sergeants are doing well down there. They're really directed. Anyway, next one. So that's the only one left. So it's the same thing. A +2 net combat modifier. So it's +2. That's a miss. Right. So they miss this guy. So the pin marker goes away. So we'll separate it there like that. And that lets me know that these guys are still pinned down. This guy is free to do whatever. He'll probably return fire or something. So we'll see what happens. And he's only got, again, went cheaty. So he's only got a small arms fire. So that can basically do nothing, I hope, to us. Okay, so that's all the Germans. That's all the fire resolved for them. Now let's, we got 2 cards under U.S. occupation that need to be resolved. So let's draw for that out of 2. 1. So we're going to start with the bottom one. Again, we go from bottom left to right, then go up. So this one is going to be resolved first. And again, there's 2. So this could be really bad because our sergeant's in the Jeep, and that could really... Actually, no, since he's in the Jeep, it's only him and his crew, so only they would be affected. But I don't think it's going to affect the Jeep much. It's going to just affect them. Like they'll get shot in the Jeep, maybe. All right, so again, we're going to see which one gets resolved first. So out of 2, it'll be the first sergeant. So he's got a -2, +2 with the cover, and a -1. So really the net combat modifier is -1. And I've seen miracles happen. -1, that's a hit. Okay, so like I said, that was the fear. That's what would happen to our first sergeant there. So he's a line. And he's just paralyzed. Okay. I say just, but I mean. So the first sergeant, he, I won't say that he specifically broke and went and just started to cower down in fear. I'm just going to say more of everybody in the Jeep. Everybody in the Jeep got hit. And they're just kind of scared. The sergeant's probably like still in the passenger seat directing stuff. Okay, so now something interesting happens since they got hit. Now we have to see what happens to his field phone. So on a 1 out of 2, it'll be destroyed. On a 2 of 2, it will be dropped. And he'll just have to pick it up when he can. So let's see. 2, so they just dropped it. So the guys were paralyzed. They dropped their field phone. They left it in the Jeep. They're probably trying to disembark the Jeep or something. And I'm pretty sure there's a special rule about, taking hits in a Jeep, which I'll probably look at a little bit later. But we have to continue on with this playthrough. They're all now pinned. All right. So next one. All right, so we're gonna... Sorry, I was just thinking about what we're trying to do here. So that's it. That's a +5 and a -1, so that's a +4. I've seen unfortunate miracles happen. So on a plus... Okay, great, so it's a miss. Or +4. +4 is still a miss. All right. Okay, so that was bad, but it wasn't that bad. All right, now the real test comes into play. Weren't they supposed to leave the exposed marker, or was it because... Oh wait, they moved this round, so okay. I was getting myself confused and all backwards. All right, so let's do this. So they are exposed, which is a -2, which gets rid of this cover. It's a -4, so that's basically a -1. We're not really counting the automatic weapons because, again, this is the next lowest net combat modifier, and we're going to use that number first. Also, 2, I'm just trying to double check. Maybe I misread something in the World War II briefing, so I'm just going to quickly just take a look and see. Okay, never mind. It uses the -4 for the... which is what I thought initially, but I thought hopefully it was wrong, so let's do that. So -1, we got that. -1, that's a hit. Surprise, surprise. What's the hit gonna be? Hopefully it's a fire team. They are technically a veteran. So veteran, hey-oh, fire team. So what happens to this fire team? So we probably lucked out on that one. So they're already a fire team, so that doesn't change. The only thing that changes is they're pinned down for the mortar fire. Ooh, okay. Now we can breathe. So that wasn't as bad as I had originally imagined. Usually I think of the worst case scenarios each time, like everybody's gonna become a casualty and it's just gonna be a mess. But the only mess that we have is the first sergeant that needs to be rallied, really. And again, I'll have to double check what happens with the Jeep if that's affected because it got hit in that fashion. Okay. Now we are done with the combat effects. We can go to the cleanup phase. So nobody's exposed anymore. So we remove that exposed. They're still there, not exposed anymore. These guys, I guess, oh yeah, they moved back because they're paralyzed, so they're not exposed anymore. Those are all the exposed markers. Anybody not under fire? Okay. Yeah, that's it. All right, and then we get rid of this grenade marker because that combat effect has already been applied. That goes away until the next time. That -1 is still in effect though. And we will try to see what we can do. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. I want to say that these guys would automatically open fire because they have line of sight. So we're probably going to change that. And then it'll be the same for these guys now that they're no longer pinned. They can, I guess, start to exchange fire. And if they did exchange fire, well, it was going to be a +2 anyway because they were all pinned down. And that would have generated an all pinned volume of fire. So these guys are still fire. Well, actually, no. Now we get to update this. So that card is no longer under any sort of fire. So we can reoccupy that objective, and we can get that done. And we should probably try to spot. I think they can still spot when they're pinned, so we can spot. Okay, that's the plan for next turn. So that we cleaned up everything. That's turn 2. So we'll use my D10, and we're now on to turn 3. And yeah, we haven't really talked about our visibility. It's daylight, so that's basically the net combat modifier. So if we flip that over, we can see that the Twilight has a +1 for all combat, except for artillery. Artillery, it doesn't matter what it is, you're gonna get slammed with it. All right, so then we're gonna update our potential contact. We're gonna update our contact activity, because technically we've captured. I want to say because technically we captured those guys. They're still under our control. So we're just going to bump this back down to engaged. So we're at the engaged because we have 2 or more U.S. occupied cards that are under a volume of fire. And so next turn is probably going to be a lot more. All right, so that's turn 2. We'll see you in turn number 3.